Hi, it's Nicole. I'm back again with another positive impact for mind and body. I'm a little late today because, well, I had some good news, really great news, but that got me thinking about the podcast today. Are you in a receptive mode for your good? So, what do I mean by that? Do you often have feelings of negativity? Do you often feel as though you can predict the negative outcomes before anyone else, and you feel really good about that because you're supposed to be so knowledgeable and so well educated about the potential? Well, there's one thing that I learned when I was doing a lot of the Joe Dispenza meditations, which I love, don't get me wrong, was that you can focus on a potential for a period of months or even a year or so and never see any results. But you can do things that will help you prepare for that moment when you can accept you are good. So, the first thing I want you to ask yourself, do you ever have moments where you second guess your own intuition, or you second guess your own judgment, right? Raise your hand if you do. I can see you out there. The second thing you want to think about is how often you associate a negative old experience with something that's happening now. How often does that happen? If you're experiencing something negative in the moment, that's one thing. You got to handle that. You got to manage that stress. You have to live through it. But when you start to adapt an old memory to something that's happening now in anticipation of more negativity coming, that's a problem. That's something you have to take a look at. And this is where, we need to be spiritual warriors. We need to be very on top of it, very conscientious of what we're thinking, why we're thinking it, and when we're thinking it, because we are actually sending those ripples out into the ethers. And that's what the angels have always said to me for the past, I don't know, 2 years. Whatever I create inside my body and my mind is going to be sent out in ripples throughout the universe. Okay. So, what does that mean? That means that you then become the beacon for that thing. So, if all you do is sit and focus and reminisce about the negativity, about, not even getting what you want, or maybe just having a bad experience that replicates itself over and over and over again in your mind, that's going to set the stage for you and whether or not you're going to be receptive to your good in the future. The other thing is, I notice people who tend to do that, sometimes, not every time, but very often, will start to set up their own obstacles. So things that no one else could have conceived of happening, or ever thought might be a consideration in this new opportunity or this new good that's coming to you, you're thinking about. And you're ready to tell everyone about it because you know this is going to go wrong. You know that's going to go wrong, or something else is going to happen. Or why should I do this? Why should I accept this opportunity? Why should I accept this good when A, B, C, and D is going to happen? And you know I can't do that. So stop. Stop it. Stop. Take a step back and just start thinking about how it could work. So, if you get to that point when you do have an opportunity or something great happens to you, you're not automatically turning it into a negative that you're successful at predicting. You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't you rather be wrong? Wouldn't you rather be wrong and have the good anyway? No, I didn't have this A, B, C, or D thing go wrong. I was able to move to the right location. I was able to find, child care for my kids at home when I was working, or whatever that new thing is. Think about how it could work and how everyone could benefit from it. That's key too. The angels are always talking about making sure everyone else that is going to benefit from the same scenario that you are benefiting from in one way or another. And it might be as simple as, you're commuting to a different area. So that little mom and pop coffee shop is now going to get one more customer a day. And that's going to mean a lot to them. So little things like that, try to set it up for yourself in your own mind. And are you the type that always assumes the worst? And I'm not just saying logistically or what could go wrong, what could happen. Is that poor me, that victim attitude always present in your mind when you're about to receive some good? You want to be very careful that you're not self-sabotaging and putting your mind and body and your energy in the role of victim all the time. So we have to be mindful of that too. And let me tell you, I speak from experience. I've had a lot of really, really horrible events happen in my life. Things that rocked my world and that I would never ever wish on anyone else ever. But the one thing that I don't want to waste my time on, and I don't think you should either. Don't waste your time on the negative diatribe. Don't waste your time on predicting poor outcomes. Don't waste your time on fear. What if I do get this and I'm afraid of the success that it'll bring? It's going to bring me, I'm going to have to travel more. You don't know, just chill, just relax, and start to think of it as a positive experience for everyone to get involved. Okay. And that you won't have to sacrifice anything. So, the angels are always talking to me and they're always reminding me about these simple things. And they said this to me a few nights ago. They said, you know, just open your mind to us. Open your mind to us and allow yourself to be open and receptive to the good that's coming your way. There's good that's coming your way. And this morning, I can't talk about it right now, but this morning blew my mind because it was one of those mornings that I was like, oh, I have to, nail this down on my website and I have to organize this and make my calendar up. And I ran out and I bought a new calendar to be all coordinated and organized. And so that's where my head was at, like, how am I going to improve this day and organize my day? But a different piece of information came through that totally blew my mind and just made me so receptive and happy and grateful. That's the other piece of this. Super, super grateful that, the angels, God, Jesus, all the ascended masters and all the saints were there to help and support this vision, this goal I had for myself and my family. And just to see that actually come to fruition, my son and I did a little dance of jubilation here in the kitchen. We were like, woo, yay! And the angels and God, they want to hear about all that. They loved all that. So this is part angel information, but part just soul experience, things that I've experienced. This is how you can be more receptive to your good. First, you got to clear your mind. You have to pretend that you are not you. And this is really hard for some people because their personalities are so wrapped up in being negative that it's hard for them to separate sometimes. But if you're having difficulty separating your, small self from your expansive self, sometimes meditation can help you do that. And this like not just a shameless plug, but I did create these meditations, and I think you saw my recent commercial, little video commercial about the recent meditations that I've unrolled or launched to transform depression, transform anxiety, transform fear, and make peace with weight loss if you so choose. These meditations were guided by the angels. They were infused with Reiki energy at their prompting. Nicole, just speak the words and allow the energy of the words to transform people's lives. That's what they told me. So let's transform together. I want to work on this with you for let's say the month of November, which is a big month because we actually have a week of kindness coming up. Did you know the 13th of November is World Kindness Day? And I have a really interesting bit of news coming up. I'm going to announce at the end of this podcast. But anyway, the angels and I got together and we were talking about ways that people could set the stage for their own success and be receptive to it, people. There's a lot of shifts and changes in our world today, in the government, and our social strata. Everything is, Facebook is changing, the government's changing, everything's shifting around. You have this unique opportunity to create the world and the experience that you want to, because now things are no longer tethered very heavily in prior dogma. Things are starting to float and people are starting to let everyone know how they feel about things, which is important. So there's this unique kind of like flexibility and reality creation that isn't going to exist for very long. So pay attention, okay? First, you got to clear your mind. You have to get your self, the big self that's in conscious connection with everything, away from the smaller self with all the negative experiences or maybe the negative emotions that are bringing them down. Okay. So separate yourself in meditation. Get used to that feeling, get used to that habit. Okay. Then you want to set the stage for success. If you want a specific outcome, I love the advice. I saw this one podcast, I don't know, like 3 weeks ago, and I love this one woman's advice, and I'll repeat that to you again now. But first, if you want a specific outcome, then it behooves you to set the stage for the success. Okay. So if let's say you want to work for A, B, C, or D company, and you have this skill set that's great for that company, right? But maybe you don't know enough about the company to make accurate, I want to say, contributions in an interview scenario. You want to do the research. My son recently interviewed with a company. He said, "Mom," before the interview, he said, "Mom, I'm going to study this company as though it's a midterm or a final exam. I'm going to nail this because I know these people are a good company to work with. I really want to be with them." And so now he's on his second round of interviews, which I'm excited about. But anyway, that's what you have to do. You have to set the stage. You have to do a little homework. Make sure that your conversation is on point. That your questions. A lot of companies will ask you questions. What do you think? What do you want to know about us? Make intelligent decisions and choices about those questions, but also dress appropriately. Get all those things in line and have the mindset that that company wants their people to have before you set foot in the door or the Zoom call, as it were. So set the stage and then choose daily habits that will help you sink your mind into that open self space of, that matrix of creativity that's not about your bad experiences or your personality or who you like or who you don't like. You're getting out of that and you're getting into that open space. And I love Joe Dispenza's meditations for this, getting into that open space, that matrix of creation that you can actually influence. That's what's important here. We need to influence that level of creativity and then replicate those possibilities and turn them into probabilities. So the daily habit for me, and I know for a lot of people, is to meditate. And again, I go back to the meditations that I've offered to help you get clear of depression, get clear of anger, and clear of fear so that you can manifest more and more of what you want, especially health and fitness and weight health and fitness. But then what you want to do is try to organize small victories that are attainable right now. And why do I say this? Why waste your time with that, right? Because I think a lot of people over the last year with COVID and being shut in and being, kind of like excluded out of groups or not being able to attend social functions, a lot of us have had this experience of not being able to access joy in our lives, not being able to feel that sense of victory from time to time. So what I'd like you to do is, I don't know what it is for you. If it is taking an art class and having an end result as a painting or paint and wine night or something like that, or play a bowling ball game or whatever. Go bowling. That's what I mean. Go bowling. Go do something that's fun and exciting that you get a little teeny victory out of, right? That might not mean anything to anyone, except you have this joy now inside and you can remember this joy, bring that joy back up, that ecstatic feeling of release, I want to say, of being connected to the matrix, of feeling like you've overcome something. That joy, that sense of victory, you now bring back into your visualization when you are focused on the potentials in that selfless state. Okay. So now you're saying, personality, I get you, I understand, and there's a lot of logic to what you're saying. However, I want to pay more attention to this joy and this victory in my life because I know it'll invite more good to me. That's what you want to hold on to, that victory. So if you can replicate that victory, once a week, it would be great once a day, right? But if you can replicate that victory, and I'm not talking about the kind of victory you get on video games or the attention you get on Facebook or anything. I'm talking about actual victories that are tangible, that you feel in the present moment, a level of joy and excitement that you would not otherwise get anywhere else. Okay. And you choose what that is. For some people, it's volunteering, at a pet shelter. For other people, it's, taking their grandma for a walk. Whatever it is, find that thing that gives you joy and a sense of victory, and then try to replicate that over and over and over again in your visualizations of where you want to find the evidence of success in the future. Okay. Keep doing that over and over and over again. So if you add to that your visualization of success in the area that you really want, and you keep replicating it, the universe has no other choice than to fulfill your energetic need. And when we are constantly vibrating at that level, when we're rippling out the energy of the new job, or finding the perfect home on the water, or traveling the world, whatever it is, when you ripple out that need over and over and over again, combined with the joy and success of having it, more likely than not, you're going to get it. And I would say give it a year, though. And this is the other thing. People are often like, oh, I did this mantra, I did this meditation for, a month and nothing happened. Well, it didn't take you a month to get you where you are now. It took years. It took years to get you where you are now. So don't assume anything's wrong because you didn't get any success or results within a month or 2 months or 3 months. Do this for a year and see where you come out. I know just now things are starting to move in the direction I had hoped they would move in, maybe 6 months or 8 months ago. But like I said, it's all the connection with the angels, and that's true too. You shouldn't assume that you're always going to connect with the archangels, but your angels are with you and they love you very, very much, and they're working on your behalf all the time. So talk to them, keep them in your prayers, keep them in your mind when you're thinking about things you want to create or evolve into. That evolutionary process is so much easier when you have a significantly higher vibration working on your behalf. So just keep those things in mind. The other thing I want to say is that gratitude goes a long way. And I know I'm replicating a lot of things that you already know, but sometimes we just need a reminder. So this is your reminder. This is your wake up call. Do these steps, clear your mind, set your stage, choose a daily habit that helps you replicate that success in your mind over and over and over again, whether it be meditation, journaling, whatever. You figure out what works for you and try to experience instantaneous victories that you can replicate in that visualization over and over and over and over again. And then be grateful for it. Be grateful for the things that are to come, and have a little bit of faith. I'm not saying, just believe and do nothing. I say believe and act. Believe and act in faith, and that will produce miracles. And I'm living part of that right now. I can't divulge what it is, but I'm very, very happy to share what I have experienced as a successful plan in getting where you really want and need to be for your soul growth, for your family, for your community, for the world. And let's not allow social media and all these other influencers, commercials and, blanket statements on advertising and radio and television and our iPhones and our iPads and our computer laptops, etc. Don't allow that to control you. Stop it. Stop it. There are kids I know that look at their phone first thing in the morning. That's the biggest mistake you could make. Then you're allowing someone else to control your thoughts. Then you're not focused on your success. You're not focused on who you want to become or evolve or move to or create in your life. You're not focused. You're allowing something else to focus you or someone else to focus you and your attention. So be mindful of that, okay? The manipulation is out there. It's a dark force. It's everywhere and it's always going to be there. So it's up to you to control, not the other way around. Okay, seriousness aside, good stuff is coming and I'm very excited about it. Next week, I'm going to be interviewing Alison Sugarman. She is the author of Eat Real, Live Mindfully, and Laugh Often. Eat Real, Live Mindfully, Laugh Often. And I think that's a great philosophy. What's even more interesting is that Alison was one of my very first, she was one of my very first personal training clients at Gold's Gym in Fishkill, New York, back in the day. I want to say like 7 years ago. And she had a pretty moving experience when I was working with her. And we've just been following each other. That's what happens. All my ex-clients become my followers and my friends on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But she's a great lady, and she wrote a book. She's, I guess, a nutritionist and an empowerment coach. So I can't wait to hear what she has to say. I don't have a specific date yet, but she will be on next week for one of my podcasts, either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I'm not sure which. And possibly Friday, because next week's getting crowded for me. Because guess what? I am going to be a guest on Heather Thompson, Real Housewives of New York podcast next week, November 10th. I believe it's 2:30 p.m. So you can find that, I think, on Spotify, Apple, all of those, all of those other podcast venues that you're familiar with. She's on all of them. Thank you. Thank you, Gamer 11,000. The older the chicken, the tastier it is too. Oh, I'm not offended at all. Thank you. That's very sweet. Very, very sweet. Anyway, I will be on Heather Thompson's podcast on November 10th. And I have the Kindness Week coming up. So I want you to ask yourself how you are going to be kind to yourself and to others. And we're going to discuss that topic in length next week. I hope you've enjoyed this. I love your feedback. I love your follows, if at all possible. If you want to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, I am at Nicole's MBM. Yay! On Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, like I said. So if you have any questions, any comments, or if you'd like me to cover something specifically, let me know, and I will talk to you next week, because today is Thursday. Enjoy and love your mind and body.